Yamunatira vanachari Yamunatira vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. mātur garbha-gato vīraḥ tadā bhṛgu-nandana dadarśa puruṣaṁ kañcid dahyamāno stra-tejasā mātur garbha-gato vīraḥ tadā bhṛgu-nandana dadarśa puruṣaṁ kañcid dahyamāno stra-tejasā mātur garbha-gato vīraḥ tadā bhṛgu-nandana dadarśa puruṣaṁ kañcid dahyamāno stra-tejasā. mātur, mother, garbha, womb, gataḥ, being situated there, vīraḥ, the great fighter, sā, child Parīkṣit, tadā, at that time, bhṛgu-nandana, O son of Bhṛgu, dadarśa, could see puruṣaṁ, the Supreme Lord, kañcit, as someone else, dahyamānaḥ, suffering from being burned, astra, the brahmāstra, tejasā, temperature. Translation, kindly repeat. O son of Bhṛgu, Śaunaka, when the child Parīkṣit, the great fighter, was in the womb of his mother, Uttarā, and was suffering from the burning heat of the brahmāstra thrown by Aśvatthāmā, he could observe the Supreme Lord coming to him. Purport. Death generally involves remaining in trance for 7 months. A living being, according to his own action, is allowed to enter into the womb of a mother by the vehicle of a father's semen, and thus he developed his desired body. This is the law of birth in specific bodies according to one's past actions. When he is awake from trance, he feels the inconvenience of being confined within the womb, and thus he wants to come out of it, and sometimes, fortunately, prays to the Lord for such liberation. Mahārāja Parīkṣit, while in the womb of his mother, was struck by the brahmāstra released by Aśvatthāmā, and he was feeling the burning heat. But because he was a devotee of the Lord at once appeared himself within the womb by his all-powerful energy. And the child could see that someone else has come to save him. Even in that helpless condition, the child Parīkṣit endured the unbearable temperature due to his being a great fighter by nature. And for this reason, the word vīraḥ has been used. So Śaunaka Rishi is inquiring about the birth and pastimes of Mahārāja Parīkṣit, and this is the kind of flashback from chapter 8. In chapter 8, which is mostly prayers of Queen Kunti, just before Krishna is departing for Dwaraka, and just before Krishna leaves, Uttarā is coming running to Krishna, and she is telling Krishna, an iron arrow is following me and it is trying to attack me. It is okay if it attacks me and if I die, but dear Krishna, please protect the child who is in my womb. And as soon as the assembled, everyone was assembled there to bid farewell to Krishna. As soon as the people who heard that, all the Pandavas, they all took their weapons. They all wanted to protect. And even before anyone could act, even before anyone could think of acting, Krishna already had entered the womb of Uttarā. And Parīkṣit was already burnt. It is not like the heat of brahmāstra is million times, million is a small number, intense than nuclear weapons. Only difference is it is very target specific. When you put a nuclear weapon, it does not attack only one person. It attacks it destroys a whole city. One atomic bomb can destroy a whole city. But brahmāstra, which is multifold times powerful than nuclear weapon, can be targeted. So all of that heat, all of that energy required for burning down a city was all targeted on a child who is yet to be born. So obviously the kid is dead. But the kid was able to see that there was someone there. And that person was having his, he was angry. He was size of thumb, very small person was there. In the future verses we will see the description. And he protected, even before all the relatives of Parīkṣit could think of protecting, Parīkṣit was protected already. And the child bore that, millions of nuclear weapons. the powerful weapons that destroyed Hiroshima, Nagasaki, that energy, that heat, all of that he bore even before being born. And that is why he's called vīraḥ. That's a very, very typical feature, a characteristic of Kshatriya. Kshatriya, they can bear pain. They can bear pain. And even before being born, Parīkṣit was able to tolerate that pain of brahmāstra. And that's why he's addressed here as vīraḥ. And of course, Krishna protected Parīkṣit, so Haribo, and we come across in Bhagavatam many situations. Prahlad was thrown from top of a mountain, Krishna protected him, Haribo, and Ambarish Mahārāja, Durvasa Muni pulled his hair out and he threw it, and it took a form of a ferocious demon who was ready to devour him. And Krishna protected him. Hari Bol, yeah. So anytime Krishna protects the devotees like that, we all have, our faith is becoming very strong, like Jai Krishna saves his devotees. We all feel very happy. Now, Draupadi, they were trying to pull her sari to humiliate her in assembly. Krishna gave her infinite sari. And Dushasan was exhausted. For Dushasan, what was most humiliating was that he became tired trying to pull her sari off her. There was a huge mountain, and still he couldn't finish pulling off the sari. So Krishna protected his devotee again, Hari Bol. So many instances where such protection happens, we feel our faith strengthened. We feel our faith strengthened. And then there is this scenario. The 5 sons of Draupadi were killed. They were just sleeping and they were killed. They were devotees of the Lord. And Vritrasura, Lord himself planned, pure devotee of the Lord. He planned, he devised, he advised how Vritrasura can be killed. And he got his pure devotee killed. And Parīkṣit Mahārāja, killed by the fire of Taksha snake. And when they get killed, then the question is, what happened? Did Krishna not protect his devotees there? What happens there is not between Parīkṣit and Krishna. It is not between Vritrasura and Krishna. It is between us and Krishna. So, in Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami gives 3 types of devotees. He gives classification of 3 types of devotees. Based on, there's 2 sets of definitions, one in Nectar of Devotion, one in Nectar of Instruction. So in Nectar of Devotion, we have this faith, based on the scriptural, the depth of scriptural knowledge and the depth of faith, there is 3 classifications. So, Uttama Bhakta is one whose scriptural knowledge is very, very deep and whose faith is very, very deep. So deep that anyone who comes in touch with him, he will also become a devotee. So that is Uttamadhikari. Then Madhyama. He has enough scriptural knowledge and he has enough faith that if somebody who is against comes to him, his personal faith will not be shaken. You cannot convince to become not a devotee. He may not be able to convince the other person to become a devotee, but his faith will not be challenged. So that's Madhyama. And then there is Kanishta. And Kanishta Bhakta, his knowledge of scriptures is not very strong. And his faith is very tender. Komala Shraddha is very tender. So if somebody comes to him and tries to preach against Krishna consciousness, or if he comes across situations where he sees that apparently the devotees are not protected by the Lord, then his faith is shaken. So Srila Prabhupada says that we should be at least in the Madhyama platform. We may not be able to convince everybody and anybody whom we come across, but at least our faith should be strong enough that we are able to not lose our own conviction in Krishna consciousness when we see adverse situations. So how can we become such Madhyama Bhaktas? How can we? How is it possible when devotees are killed? When Krishna plans to kill his devotees, Vrittasura, Krishna is giving clear instruction how it is to be done. And Parīkṣit Mahārāja cursed for like very, very, not very strong reason and died by snake bite. Not very glorious apparently. So when we see like that, how do we strengthen our faith? We can strengthen our faith by seeing and understanding the relationship between the devotee who is going through the suffering and the Lord. We can see that in spite of going through these hardships, these devotees never lost their faith. And that is simply because they felt that reciprocation from Krishna. Draupadi was humiliated, but did she ever become adverse to Krishna? Did she ever give up Krishna consciousness? No. Queen Kunti, husband died, untimely death, 5 kids all by herself. Kids were, every possible attempt was made to kill them, to dethrone them, to take their kingdom out, to humiliate her daughter-in-law. Did she ever give up shelter of Krishna? That is because she felt Krishna's presence. We as outsiders, we as spectators, we are not able to see it. But the devotees are having a very intimate moment in that time of suffering. There is a very, very personal exchange that is happening between the Lord and the devotees during that calamity. And that is why after Parīkṣit was saved in Uttara's womb, Queen Kunti came to offer prayers. She thanked Krishna and she remembered all the calamities. My son was given poison, given poison cake thrown in the river, and my daughter-in-law was insulted, our kingdom was snatched, and everything. She remembered all the calamities. And then what did she say? Give me more. Please give me more of these calamities. Why do I want more of these calamities? Because when these calamities are there, Krishna, then you are with me. And when you are with me, that means I don't have any more material existence. My material existence is over because I am with you. And that is all I want. So when devotees are going through hardship, for them it is a chance to become much more intense in their spiritual practices. And when we see how wonderfully they are taking it, that should help us increase our own faith. That should help us raise to the level of Madhyamadhikari. The minute we think like, oh my God, look at all these devotees who were killed, look at the, in some countries they're killed, in some countries they're put in prison, and then there's this brainwashing happening, and and they're persecuted and they have to run out of their country, and when these things happen, we need to know that of course we have to protect, of course we need to take care, we need to do whatever is needed for protecting, them organizing some protests and seeking help of government or whatever. We're not stupid. Devotees don't treat Krishna like order supplier. Now I'll put myself in some dangerous condition, I'm not going to do anything about it, you come and take care of me. No, we don't do that. He's not our servant. So we need to take care of ourselves in whatever way we can. And that is okay. That is good, because we do not disturb the Lord asking Him to protect us. So we do something to protect ourselves, or we do something to protect the devotees. That is wonderful. That is okay. But what is more important is that these incidences, these scenarios don't shake our faith. We need to see that this is a common thing that happens in material world. It's not just the devotees are persecuted. Everywhere there is something happening in material world. Jesus was persecuted by Jews. Jews were persecuted by Germans. Germans were persecuted by the Americans and Russians. India has war with Pakistan. China has war with India. America had war with Japan. Apartheid is wrong. Racism, people are treated bad because they have a different skin color. Black life matters. There's something was happening there. Women sometimes are treated bad in some cultures and some communities. So everywhere, some form or other, somebody abuses because they don't have proper knowledge. And you extend it further on a universal level, animals are ill-treated. People build slaughterhouses to kill cows, pigs, goats. Everywhere some form of abuse, some form of killing, some form of violence is happening. So it is important that devotees remain, we protect, we act intelligently, but we should not give up remaining in mode of goodness. We should not forget that this is the nature of material world. And what is the solution? How do we overcome these things? We understand philosophically what is the reason for such behavior. The reason for such behavior, that somebody is harming someone, is because they have this idea of I am right, you are wrong. What I believe is correct, what you believe is wrong. And that means they are centered around themselves. The fight happens because I am centered around my faith. I have something that is right for me, and you have something that's right for you, and my circle of faith and your circle of faith don't match, and then there is a clash. Then Srila Prabhupada says, it's very, very simple. World peace is very, very simple. Let's not make our own individual circles. Every circle has its own center, no? So then many circles will be many clashes. Just put one center. And then if that one center is Krishna, with that one center, how many ever circles you make, they're all going to be concentric. They're all going to be harmonious. There will be no clashes. And that means you are a Christian, you become a better Christian. And a better Christian ultimately is a lover of God. You are a follower of any religion, you become better in that religion, and when you become better and best in that religion, ultimately you become a lover of God. And once you love God, then that love spreads to everyone. And then you will not harm anyone, because you know that everyone is part and parcel of God, not just people, not just human beings, not just different races or gender or countries, but even other living forms, animals. We will not harm anyone, because we know that everyone is part and parcel of God. So we have to encourage people. Prabhupada says the formula for world peace is everyone should become Krishna conscious. And we do not take guns and bombs. Our weapon is mridanga, kartal, harinam, prasadam, books, and we make our war with the help of Lord Chaitanya's movement. We make people more and more aware. And when people become very, very aware about their position as servant of God, then they will not harm others. They will not harm even an ant. There's a story of Mrigari the hunter, and he used to kill animals and leave them half dead. And then Narada was telling, that's so cruel, at least kill them. Killing is sinful, but leaving them half dead is really cruel, because they're going to suffer for a long time. So he was that kind of person, so cruel. But when he got the holy name, when he got the instructions from Narada, then he changed. He's changed to such extent that when he would offer obeisance, if there was ant or something, he will push that ant and then offer obeisance. He became so non-violent. So the current scenario is so turbulent, because there is this whole talk about violence. So as devotees, there are few phases to it. One is our faith. How do we respond to that? And one is our intelligence. How do we protect ourselves and others? And then one is our response. And the response is always Krishna conscious, preaching, and that is the only solution. And treating people with that goodwill, trying to bring people to that common platform where we all can love God, whatever name we may call him. When we can establish that standard, then real peace will exist. Otherwise, today it's this violence, tomorrow it will be another violence, yesterday it was some other violence, and we as devotees should not become agitated by that too much. And we should not lose our faith. So in summary, devotees are sometimes, many times, put through very hard, struggling situations. Devotees know that Krishna is always there to protect them. Others may or may not see that. Prahlad, Krishna protected, we were able to see. Draupadi, Krishna protected, we were able to see. Parīkṣit, Krishna protected, but we only saw that Parīkṣit died. We could not see that protection. Sometimes we may see, sometimes we may not be able to see. But we should know that devotees are always protected, irrespective of whether or not we are able to perceive it. And we can know that devotees are always protected by seeing how they respond to the calamities, how they say, please give me more of these calamities, because it gives me a very deep connection with you. From that we can know that Krishna is always there protecting them. And devotees reject opulences. When Dhruva Maharaj was given the whole kingdom, Dhruva Maharaj said, this is like glass, I don't want this. You are diamond, I want you, Krishna. I don't want these glass pieces, this kingdom and ruling for 30,000 years. I don't want all of that, So devotees won't even accept If Krishna gives anything apart from himself, devotees won't even accept that. And seeing all of that, we should strengthen our own faith. It is intelligence to protect ourselves by whatever we have to do, but the solution is not just trying to protect with weapons and arms. The solution is to spread Krishna consciousness and develop the understanding that as long as Krishna is not the center, there will be always some form or other disturbance, and hence we should very, very actively preach Krishna consciousness throughout the world, and that's what Prabhupada will want us to do. Yeah. So this class presentation was inspired by Radheshyam Prabhu and Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's lecture, so I'm very grateful for their association through internet. So any questions or comments? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for giving such a nice class. I felt inspired, so thank you. I just wanted to make a comment. I was remembering hearing a conversation by Ayendra Prabhu and some other devotees, and they were asking him something to do like with sincerity. And Ayendra Prabhu, he's explaining that when a devotee, his sincerity is checked when a devotee goes through some difficulty. And when he's going through some difficulty, if he's able to maintain his sadhana, his 16 rounds, minimum 16 rounds, and attending the temple programs, that's when it's checked. Then the devotee can see how conditioned he is. So yeah, that's all. I just wanted to share that. Hare Krishna.
Beautiful. Thank you. We can see in case of the Pandavas also, when the 5 sons were killed, then Arjun brought Aśvatthāmā, and Draupadi very mercifully forgave Aśvatthāmā and let him go. And they treated him like a friend, like the son of their teacher. Yeah, they treated him with respect and they let him go. They were in distress, but then when they had the opportunity to punish, they gave a token punishment and let him go. And then how did he reciprocate? By killing the baby that was in the womb. And even like that, we see that the Pandavas did not lose their faith in Krishna. And like Prabhu pointed out, that is the test. When we are going through hardship, and if we don't give up shelter of Krishna, we can stick on to our sadhana, our reading, our chanting. We can stick on to it. They all left their kingdom and they went looking for Krishna. Their aim was to go back to Krishna. They never deviated from their faith, and that is the sign of their sincerity. Thank you, Prabhu. Very, very wonderful point. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. My question is regarding, you mentioned that Sri Krishna entered the womb of Uttarā to protect Parīkṣit Maharaj. But if as a Paramatma, he is already within the heart of Uttarā, means why he has to enter the womb? Is there any reason for him to enter? Or as a Paramatma he couldn't help? Or
that was Krishna's immediate response to his devotee. When his devotee is there in distress, he personally comes. In this purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, because Parīkṣit was a devotee of Krishna, Krishna entered the womb of Uttarā to personally protect him. That is Krishna's response. He does not want his expansion or expansion of expansion to take care. That is his love. He's there even before Pandavas could think of what to do. And that is his love, you know, and that's how he reciprocates with devotees.
For a special mercy for special devotees.
Yes.
Oh, thank you, Mataji.
Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila